Hello my Libran friends, this is your bi-weekly from the 16th till the end of August. So you know, like, this is different from monthlies. Monthlies is like really high level and gives you like really big from the above view. This is like more or less down and dirty, kind of like, let's see what's going on, let's see how to react in these 2 weeks. So I had 2 jumpers here: healing family issues, your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So never mind Doreen's virtues explanation. It basically, sometimes in life we have to face what bothers us, and sometimes, and most of the times I would say, our partner, because of the closeness, reflects things that we need to learn and we need to heal. So let's say if we had the absent father or unresponsive father, or person around us who didn't know how to express love, we may attract a partner who actually does the same. So that healing has to be backtracked to where did that first start, and this is where you guys are going back, kind of like taking those steps. It's almost like you rewind all the way to that point, then you heal it, and all of a sudden there is another kind of like push in a much better direction. And voila, wedding. The situation involves marriage. Why am I not surprised that Libra is getting this? Because literally all these bridal magazines should be called Libra magazines. So it could be you dreaming about this perfect mate. It could be you organizing some kind of wedding for somebody, even better yet for yourself. Or it could even be that maybe you are involved with a person who maybe is married, or maybe who is non-committal. So we will see. I have shuffled these cards as well already, and you have the Hangman. Wow, that's kind of interesting. We will see how that's going to reflect, but Hangman is like literally talking about seeing things from a different point of view. And it's a standstill. It could be even sacrifice, but it's a kind of willing sacrifice. It's kind of strategizing, where do I go from here and how do I get here. And you see, like, things have been damaged, right? And some things maybe are swept under the rug. So this is the card saying, wait a minute, I'm just trying to see what is out there. I'm trying to see what is available, and I'm really trying to see how do I proceed from here. But currently I'm doing nothing. I'm just like standing here. So it is a card of appearances of not doing anything, but really it's a card that actually does a lot, where, like, you know, when you like literally sit somewhere on a subway or on a bus, and then just like you appear, you're doing nothing, but nobody's really seeing these internal wheels turning, where you're really kind of thinking through things. So that's kind of the situation. Okay, so the start here is like, oh, you're feeling a little lonely. So the Hermit card reverse. The Hermit is talking about looking for the answers inside, which kind of like is really related to this card. But this is kind of like more or less, this is like more or less looking for the pragmatic answers, and this is a card looking for wisdom. Because I don't know if you can tell here, let me put it closer. Can you see what is in this lantern? It's actually a star. So you're kind of like looking for your own star, and this is definitely not you. I mean, come on, you Libras are always sexy, always dressed up to the nines, and literally, you know, everybody kind of recognizes you and all these little dimples. But now you're kind of saying, wait a minute, you know, clothes do not make me, and I have to find what it is. But somehow there is a disconnect. You're kind of like torn between kind of like looking for the answers, because by nature you are like very gentle sign, like you really give air signs a good name, and because the Geminis are combative and Aquarians, we are abrasive, let's put it kindly. So you are guys the diplomatic ones of the horde. We kind of put you up front to kind of handle the mess that we create. So this is kind of like, wait a minute, like, what about me? And you know, like, I mean, you're wondering why other people are not pulling basically their share of things. However, this is maybe something that's pushing you to the next level. The World card is like wonderful one. Like, this is kind of like job well done, accomplished. next. Sort of like you just graduated from high school and now you're moving to the next stage of your life, whether this is work or whether this is like going to the higher education. Kind of like it is like feeling really good where you are and feeling good where you're going, kind of like two things at the same time, because you see the kitty is in the same position as it is there, if you see, and this is kind of like meaning it's going to just grow a little bit further, right? So now what has happened? Wedding. So this kind of came, did it come reversed? I have to check. Oh my gosh, my attention span. Sorry about it. I thought I kind of drew it reversed. It's a big difference in between the two. You see, when is this upright? It talks about, let's get together and we'll share. And we are going to accomplish something bigger than we are. But when is it reversed? It talks about three is a crowd. And I don't know if you guys had issue with somebody, I don't know, flirting, getting out of line, maybe the third party, because in the past you had some kind of burdens. You see, this is kind of like where it was, looks like you finish or are finishing one cycle. Something was a big burden to you guys and you have realized that you cannot carry on certain things, or they're going to break you, that you have to pace yourself, and maybe you just drop everything and started afresh, or maybe you kind of like just took a few elements that you can handle. And now we have the Chariot reversed in what is crowning you. So now this is interesting, and yes, it is reversed. This is this kind of again feeling stuck. So it looks like from the inside you guys are feeling stuck. You are kind of like moving forward, almost like the karma and life is moving you forward, where you are kind of like not moving forward, right? So this will be going forward vigorously. This is kind of getting stuck. But also there are questions about morality. There are questions about choices. There are questions of what kind of direction you really want to go in. So it's not really like you're getting this theme, right? Kind of like you're right now and right here positioning yourself, but almost like you're in the ocean. You cannot put the anchor. It's really eventually going to push you over. So you're being moved forward. Yeah, you see, this is kind of you guys. This is that romanticizing the past. It could be nostalgia. It could be being stuck. You know, we all, and you guys and Leos, I think, who else? Maybe Taurus, are really romantic signs. And you see the problem with, and Pisces, sorry Pisces if you're cross watching, you see Pisces are, pardon me, Libras, Pisces, Taurus and Leos, they're so romantic that basically they are fed with romance, sort of like feed the beast. So the problem with that is, because the brain works this way, that we somehow manage to erase the bad things eventually, right? Depending, it takes time, but eventually we kind of erase it. So the problem is like that you forget, because our brains make us forget the bad things that happen, and you tend to kind of go back to thinking about this person in a kind of like nice way. The truth is, you know, no, it's I'm not propagating here that you have to think negatively, because I'm not pro-negative, but I'm also not pro-positive, because neither of them really work. But don't get stuck romanticizing the person. You have to also remind yourself, wait a minute, there is a reason why we are not together. The reason is such and such, and sure, we had this like nice times. Because you see, what happens is that people keep seeking that perfect partner, and that perfect partner doesn't exist. It's almost like equivalent to looking for Santa Claus. So what happens in the process is that we find one partner, we think it's perfect, because initially everybody's perfect, right? And then kind of like something happens, and then we kind of like put it on the list, hate this. Then the next one, another thing goes on the list, next one, and next one, and next one, and next thing we know, the list is getting so big with all this kind of like disruptions and things that we God, and yet we are still seeking the Santa Claus in the meantime. But the problem is like that we have so much baggage. So this is basically telling you to kind of balance, because you're scales, right? You have to balance kind of like good and bad with a person. So don't get stuck just, oh, this was so great, if the person didn't treat you well, if they didn't honor you, if they maybe cheated on you, if they kind of like rendered you lonely. You see, some breakup happened, guys, or you're planning to break something off, and like you're kind of like putting elements together, really. You see, because she kind of laid her arms over here, Queen of Swords. Butterflies are signifying freedom, but here kind of like looks like you're feeling maybe the certain things in your life are falling apart. Well, your environment sees you as happy and lucky, and guys, this is kind of like a make-a-wish card. The period is going to be a really good one. In spite of all these inner doubts that you have, in spite of you being a little bit sugary and overly sweet, you guys are being pushed to the next level. You will even get grumpy, you will even kind of like maybe get harsh, very unlike you guys. Maybe you will think in black and white terms, but sometimes this is needed, because sometimes you have to draw the line, and when people keep jumping on your side, like, I mean, it is time to say stop, this is not going to work. Again, maybe you're not strong yet. This is kind of interesting. I'm getting 8 in many signs. We are going through this lunar eclipse. This is going to be really related, and I think this is why it is you didn't regain your strength. You see, you're moving from 7, the Chariot reversed, to 8, the Strength reversed, and this also could mean lack of commitment again. This also could mean, because this is in your house of hopes and fears, so you're fearing that maybe somebody you're with doesn't want to commit, or you're like experiencing a rejection, you're experiencing a brunt of not kind of like having your love fulfilled, because I can see here this is being related to you feeling lonely, and you're still kind of like having this romantic kind of like vision about this person. However, this is what it is, and you know, when we fear something, the best is to really address it, and you know, what is it? And it is like when you put it on the paper, then you kind of like go through analysis and see what can happen. You see, you're like, again, this is kind of getting out of cold. It's kind of like was feeling like that loneliness was that somebody looks like pull a rug under your feet, and this is why all these little ones collapsed down. And this goes back to, I guess, this healing issues, that maybe this lonely place, and this is what happens. You see, you actually lonely is when you notice that you feel lonely, this is time for healing, because lonely is not a natural kind of like emotion. It's not who we are, because literally you can be alone without being lonely. So lonely is always talking about void, and this void you can fill in with romanticizing the past, and that might actually create even more pain, or you can actually create by being factual, and kind of you guys are able to do that. Your air sign, even though you appear sweet, that's where people go wrong with you, right? Because you do appear sweet, but you have sharp mind, and Queen of Swords is like the sharpest queen of all 4. So the moment when you kind of like cut it off in your own head, and you will do that, you will still kind of feel a little bit kind of weak, but you're going to start feeling, finally I am going up, and kind of like you're going to start seeing things looking up. So I'm going to clarify here a few cards and see. You have 3 major arcanas. So I really want to see what is going on there. First of all, I want to see this world. I am not actually really afraid of you, for you. Not afraid of you, or for you for sure, because you have the world here. It's probably, this is probably the best card. Sure, like everybody wants to have a wish card, but beware what you wish for. You want this partner back, you're going to go back to lonely, devastated, void. Like, this is not a normal thing, right? Between adults. I do know, especially for guys, they go to their caves and they kind of like need some time to think. But we all do. We all have issues like that. It's an adult communication. Hey, you need some space, have it. You cannot push somebody, because if you do, literally the outcome is always bad. So do you really want to end up there? Like, do you really think that you don't deserve better? So it is going back to self-esteem. It's going back to kind of changing your vibrations, and we are collectively working on this, guys. So let me see, what is this? Actually, let me start with this Chariot, because I really want to see where is this feeling of stuck, really. What is this pressure that you are giving to yourself, seemingly? Okay, what is this Chariot for Libras? This Chariot, what is this? Oops, there we go. Oh my gosh. No, I think I'm looking them up right. Huh. Look at how many cards you got. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Like, I don't even really have to tell you. Like, you have Priest. Then you have Wedding. Then you have Child. Right? I have the Wedding card here. Then we have Conversation. Then we have Secrets and being on guard. Then we have Sorrow. Then we have Wife. And then it is you. So, are you a wife? Did you have a rival? Are you the person who found out that person has wife? Were you the one who were promised this marriage, the wedding that you have here, and kind of like somebody painted this picture of the family and child? There was a conversation about it, and then the secrets popped up on you, where you left this devastating, lonely. I have never seen such a, I mean, I do see a cluster of cards jumping, but generally they don't make sense, so just like put them back. But this kind of like told me the entire story. So this is where you're stuck, because you're still living out this promise, and to you, like, telling about marriage, it's literally like a catnip. And I'm sorry to say, but it looks like the person just, you know, realized this is a push button for you, and you are getting this. So let me see this three of Pentacles for Libras. Yeah, you see, somebody's married, somebody's stuck, somebody is not, somebody's maybe not happy in their marriage, but you know, there is possibility of getting out. And this vase was not placed just because the artist wanted this vase. The vase is like that magic Aladdin lamp, kind of like there is still a possibility of working these things out, but you see there is like somebody feeling a sense of not getting out. And my advice to everybody, and this is not judgmental, guys, do not date people who are still married, no matter what they tell you. And even if they tell you the truth, I'm leaving, I'm doing this, there is a huge, and I'm telling you this as a counselor, as a life coach, there is a huge period of time for them to heal. Because it takes about half to equal amount of time that we were in a relationship to really fully heal and recover. And women and men react differently with recovery. Women, we kind of like pull back and we kind of analyze, we kind of really want to know why and what happened, and this is kind of like really bad direction, because sometimes why is not even a valid question. Why did he cheat? Well, he's a jerk, right? End of the story. No, but like people want to know why, what have I done? No, just cut it. You see, guys don't really ask themselves the questions. They sometimes go in the cave and they kind of prove that they're recovering by really quickly jumping in a new relationship. So this is where you can be on that receiving end, you know, that they heal their pain with, right? So you are overweight, but you heal that pain with drugs, right? So you just happen to be the drug who is treating them well. So now there's discrepancy because there is something new and sweet. So then initially everything was good, and then you go down and they take you down with them, and you haven't deserved it. You did really usually a healing purpose in their life. So my advice is, if somebody tells you they're married or separated, or well, we still live together but there is nothing in between us, stay away. Just return, just move on. This is like really trying to open a bag and you just like see wasps coming out. If this is what you want, go ahead. If you don't want to be bitten from all the sides and being a punching bag in the end, maybe everybody else wins but you, this is it. So I'm just only saying this because the cards are indicating this could be a situation. Unfortunately, it sounds like you have already got so many kind of bites from these wasps, and I really hope I'm going to get some I'm going to get some things. So I see, I actually just read these cards upright, but interesting enough, Lord, it keeps coming out. This is a married guy with you see, this will be a young woman, this could be his child, this could be somebody he is after, and joyfulness. Basically, this is saying you're cutting this off because maybe you are this younger woman, maybe you're just not seeing a joy in this because it's not working for you. And this is another thing, you know, like how people try to make their life work without giving equal rights to the others. And I'm really big on equality. And this equality doesn't mean I can lift 40 pounds, so you have to lift 40 pounds. I'm talking about equality in treating people as, you know, they're like adult. And that goes really both ways. If people show me their children, I'll treat them like children because this is how they want to be treated. So this sounds to me as if this person wants everything for them. Well, my life is this. I have to have children every 2 weeks. I have to do this for this. Okay, so what? You have to somehow rotate around them? Like, are you a satellite? No, he's a planet, you're a planet. And let's figure out how to actually make it together. So the moment when you create imbalance, the moment it kind of goes down. And the partner has to be aware to make kind of adult decisions. And I think you're fully getting it this time. And this kind of would explain feeling lonely and feeling stuck, and you guys are so fair, and this what happened to you was not fair, but you do have to admit that you do actually have some kind of responsibilities. So it is time to heal, move on. And you know what they say, when you learn the lesson, you don't repeat it anymore. So let me see the strength. I want to see if the strength is going to be recovered. Libra strength. Yeah, you see, this is your thinking. You're like deliberating what's going to happen, Libra. Yeah, this one wants to go out. And yeah, you're going to figure out, hey, actually it was for the best. It kind of like works. And sometimes while you're going through things, you are kind of really sad, but then years later you kind of get to the point of, oh my gosh, I'm so glad this happened. Something that looks like the end of the world, the end of fairy tale. Years later you will say, I am so glad I'm not married to this person. Oh my gosh, I would be stuck now, maybe have kids. And look, I found this like gorgeous partner instead. So I think you're getting it these 2 weeks. So solar eclipse is going to really push you into kind of getting bigger clarity. That it's going to be dark, right? You see, it's going to be the dark before it gets light, but you're going to see this light, and you guys are literally in this phase starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So good job, Libra. And if you're new on the site, please subscribe, because that kind of gives you the releases right away. And join my Facebook, and this is where I kind of have a little tidbits about tarot and possibly some kind of Reiki from time to time, and I send you the healing. So thank you very much, and have a great 2 weeks. Love you, Libras. Well, thank you for watching, and please remember to join my Facebook as well, where you can get different tips and possibly healing as well on daily basis. Thanks again. Until the next time, love you.